Support WrestleTalk!
Give us a subscribe. Over the last half a year, WWE has been steadily building several major feuds for their top champion, Drew McIntyre, on Raw. His friendship with Sheamus is set to boil over into a heated rivalry at any moment. His other babyface bestie, Keith Lee, is becoming increasingly desperate for a title win. And in Drew's most well-booked long-term feud, Goldberg, who just showed up the other week and cut a promo that didn't make any sense. I'm still hopeful McIntyre will beat Goldberg this Sunday, because 3 times the charm after Kevin Owens and The Fiend. Surely. So what does Drew do on the road to WrestleMania? The feud we've all been waiting for. Move aside, Wyatt family, your old news, The Shield, because 2021 is finally the implosion of 3M. Jinder Mahal is set to make his WWE return tomorrow in the pre-recorded Superstar Spectacle special, a WWE Network special produced for the Indian market to air on their Republic Day national holiday, but recorded last Friday. This is Mahal's second attempt at returning from injury in a year and a half. He first injured his knee in June 2019. He returned on Raw, where he squashed Akira Tozawa last April, but has been out ever since after needing further surgery on his knee. The Wrestling Observer reported that before Jinder got hurt again, WWE had him scheduled for a short title feud against McIntyre due to Raw's lack of top heels at the time. This would play off their 3MB history. Drew confirmed as much, where he said he 100% wants to face one of my best friends in the world. And it seems WWE might be simply picking up those plans from last April soon, with the Superstar Spectacle being main evented by Jinder's return match of Mahal teaming with the Bollywood Boys in a 6-man against tag team Jinder Mahal and Drew McIntyre, which was also Drew's first match back since his COVID diagnosis. Oddly, in the show, Jinder was framed as the frontman, asking fans to blow the roof off the Thunderdome so India can get a weekly show. But he was a heel by the end of it, interrupting Ric Flair, who's a heel normally, and cutting his own bad guy promo to lose to McIntyre and Jinder Mahal in the main event. The entire show was built around WWE's Indian talent, putting over Dilsha Shanky and Giant Zanjeer with Rey Mysterio and Ricochet against the heel vortex of Dolph Ziggler, King Corbin, Cesaro, and the now babyface Shinsuke Nakamura. NXT's Finn Balor beat Rui Raj, AJ Styles beat Jeet Rama, and Serena Sandhu and Charlotte Flair beat Bayley and Natalya. The show ended with all the Indian wrestlers celebrating with Triple H and Stephanie McMahon. PW Insider is reporting Triple H was in charge of the special's production, heading up the same team that puts on NXT and NXT UK, and most of the Indian talent were actually having their first real wrestling match, where officials were happy with their performances. So happy, Triple H boasted WWE has 10 Indian talents that we believe are ready for the main stage in an interview with the Hindustan Times, and that he wants to have a performance center in India where they can produce localized WWE content, citing the country's large population and huge pro wrestling fan base. The last time WWE were talking so openly about Indian expansion, Jinder Mahal won the WWE Championship in 2017. Do you think they'll book Mahal to win the title back? Let me know in the comments down below, because I'll be replying to people from out of nowhere, warning you Goldberg's a red herring. This is the return of Jinder. Run! Run! Before we get on with the rest of the news, I'd just like to say a huge thank you to this video's sponsor, Manscaped.com. What is the most painful experience a man can have? Standing barefoot on a Lego brick? Oh, it's close. Falling through a flaming table? Nearly. Megan telling you she always saw you more as a brotherly friend anyway? Oh, that's up there. But the correct answer is pulling hairs out of your nose with tweezers. Dear God, it makes me cry. So thank you, Manscaped, my favourite men's brand for grooming and hygiene, who have just released a new product, and as a subscriber of this channel, you're the first to preview the new Weed Whacker nose and ear hair trimmer. Manscaped have spent over a year reinventing the traditional nose trimmer with a 9,000 RPM motor, 360-degree rotary dual blade system, contoured 23-degree angle, water-resistant for the tears of joy you weep for pain-free grooming, and a lithium-ion battery. I've had mine for 6 months and I haven't had to charge it yet. I use it all the time because my nose is really hairy. It grows horrendously fast. And best of all, it's got the same skin-safe technology that's in their lawnmower body trimmer. That's my genuine lawnmower there. It's touched the gooch of greatness, which helps reduce nicks and snags. It's honestly amazing. The Weed Whacker! You can hear it when it gets hair. It makes a slightly different noise. So upgrade your Manscaped routine with the Weed Whacker nose and ear trimmer and select the Peak Hygiene plan so you get fresh, replaceable blades every 3 months. Or get it all as part of the Performance Package. And you can get 20% off and free shipping by using our promo code WTTV at the manscaped.com link in the video description below. Thank you to Manscaped. I can literally breathe easier through my nose with you in my life. Oh yeah. Such airway cleansing. More on my big hairy balls at the end of this video. Back to Drew McIntyre. Maybe a feud with Jinder Mahal is just a way to build up his next up-and-coming challenger, The Undertaker. The dead man appeared as his real-life gimmick, Mark Calloway, on a surprise episode of the Joe Rogan podcast last Thursday, where he pined for the old days of pro wrestling where men were men and they didn't play video games in the locker room. Taker called the current WWE product a little soft with too much pretty and not enough edge. What are you talking about? He returned in January. And now McIntyre has told Sportskeeda he doesn't agree whatsoever, especially from an in-ring perspective, citing you can't get away with the more risque 18+ days of the Attitude Era as our current product is PG. There's only so far you can push it, and we're willing to push it. Like a man burning another man alive, and someone else gouging out their eyeball. McIntyre claimed the current in-ring product is the best it's ever been. And as so far as men being men, I know firsthand because I'm the one hitting most of the people, and they're asking me to stop hitting them so hard. So Drew will face Jinder, and then The Undertaker, but who next? CM Punk return confirmed. In a video game. Punk breezed through a Q&A session on Twitter last night as he's quarantining before a filming project, not because he's tested positive for COVID. He revealed his favourite WWE superstar of 2020 was Goldberg, smartest man in the room, excellent trolling, that he's going to be reading Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles while self-isolating, and that he hasn't been keeping up with wrestling as he's not been home on the nights it's aired. Which, going by the current wrestling calendar, he's out the house literally all the time. But his most interesting response was to Jay Brown, asking whether he'd be open to appearing in a WWE 2K game like Goldberg and Sting had, where their 2K deals were the foot in the door to negotiating their WWE returns. Punk replied, "Yeah, but since it's me, won't happen." It was reported last January that Vince McMahon said he'd never work with Punk again. Punk currently has no WWE ties either, with the Fox Studio show WWE Backstage being effectively cancelled last year. It's Punk's loss, as Jonathan Coachman has revealed what a great boss Vince McMahon can be in a new interview with Chris Van Vliet. Clarifying a backstage rib story from the Attitude Era days, Coachman revealed that in 2001, Gerald Briscoe asked him to run a football pool for all the guys in the office. Shortly after Coachman had started printing off copies, 2 police officers turned up to arrest him, as running illegal football pools is a felony in North Carolina where they were. Vince screamed at him in front of the officers for running an effing football pool instead of working, refused to pay his bail, and picks up his boxer shorts that he wore to work out in that day. He whips them at me and they stick to my face. So I got Vince's ball sweat on my face and I didn't even move. I'm in handcuffs and I have his boxers stuck to my face. Coachman was then driven off in the police car in front of 300 fans, where he said, "I've never felt more shame in my life." But they just turned around and dropped him back at the arena, where everyone greeted him laughing, revealing it was all just a hilarious practical joke. "I literally went to a part of the arena where nobody can find me and I just started sobbing. I was crying so hard. You know, sometimes when you are so angry or you are so relieved or whatever, the tears just come and you don't don't know why. I was just so relieved that I wasn't going to jail, that I wasn't arrested, and that I still had a job. But it took 45 minutes, and to this day, he still calls it the greatest rib. What a lovely place to work. You can watch the full interview in the link below. Vince McMahon seems to be winding down his on-site duties though. As Ringside News is reporting, he wasn't at Tropicana Field for last Friday's SmackDown, where Triple H and Kevin Dunn ran the show. McMahon has attended the majority of SmackDown tapings since lockdown began. His health is said to be fine and reportedly called in via Zoom to check on things. It's another instance of Triple H being given more control of running WWE shows, potentially foreshadowing Vince further stepping back from production duties. And that's not the only challenge WWE has in its future. NBCU have announced they'll be shutting down their NBC Sports Network, which will reportedly involve the shows on that station like NHL, NASCAR and EPL moving to the USA Network. As Dave Meltzer pointed out on Wrestling Observer Radio, this could result in NXT being bumped from Wednesday nights for Wednesday night hockey, as the NHL is far more important to NBC. This might not be as bad as it first sounds though. Both NXT and AEW have proven to attract higher viewing figures when they don't run head to head with each other. But while NXT's audience would likely increase being moved to a Tuesday or Thursday, it will fail the show's original purpose to take a chunk out of Dynamite's ratings. NXT's current TV contract is set to expire in October, when these changes might take place. AEW has stiffer pay-per-view competition in the UFC before then though. Despite WWE maintaining that MMA isn't a competitor to pro wrestling, F4W Online is reporting AEW will move Revolution, originally announced for Saturday the 27th of February, to Sunday, March 7th, to avoid both the Canelo Alvarez boxing match and UFC 259 on Saturday the 6th. This will mark the first ever AEW pay-per-view to run on a Sunday. So expect WWE to move Fastlane to that same night. It's the biggest show of the year, and Sunday nights aren't the only thing AEW is trying to poach. In an NXT TakeOver Dallas watch-along with Arn Anderson, FTR reviewed their brilliant tag match against American Alpha, where Dax Harwood said, "I think we should get Gable into AEW." But that's just my thought. And all of ours too, I think. In the meantime, they'll just have to make do with Dolph Ziggler's brother, Ryan Nemeth, who's been booked for a singles match against Hangman Page on Wednesday's episode of Dynamite. Everyone seems to be making matches. Ziggler's brother, the return of Jinder Mahal, Goldberg versus a locker room door. And yes, I watched it. Laurie challenging for my jam, that championship again, at this Sunday's Royal Rumble live reactions. He's invoking the automatic rematch challenger clause that I'm tied to by WrestleTalk law, if done so in the waxing gibbous moon phase while wearing a mask. Why did I ever write such a specific rule? Curse me past, Mr. Davis! So naturally, I have to accept. This Sunday will see El Fakador once again try to win my championship, and he'll once again fail, making me even more the most successful that champion ever. But he's not the only one who can make matches around here. I own the frickin' place. So let me announce the first ever Royal Jamble. 8 WrestleTalk competitors, randomly assigned numbers for 2 Jamble matches on this Sunday's live reactions. Each winner will get a championship match at the 2-night WrestleMania. We'll be drawing the numbers on our prediction stream this Wednesday, because this year it's all about my balls. My big hairy balls, that is. Visit our Manscaped link in the video description below for 20% off and free shipping for loads of great Manscaped products, and find out the 10 biggest Royal Rumble fails with Adam Blompier's latest list by clicking the video on the right. Subscribe to WrestleTalk for daily wrestling videos. I've been Mr. Davis. Jam that jam.